My name is Juliet, and I'm going to teach you how to make a good profile picture specifically for your YouTube. This can be applied to other social medias as well. Disclaimer, I'm not a profile picture expert. I don't have a PhD in making profile pictures. This is just my opinion. You can use profile pictures for a lot of things, like promoting a movie, an album cover. It can be a product. So whatever advice I give here today, take it, with a grain of salt. Just apply it to how it resonates. At the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. What makes a good profile picture? It's recognized immediately. When someone looks at your profile picture, they immediately go, oh, I know exactly who that is. That's my favorite YouTuber. What are some things we can use to make our profile picture recognizable? I'm gonna list off some things that'll help us make our profile picture stand out from the rest or make ourselves more identifiable. One thing we can use is silhouettes. So by using the outline and shape of our character, it can help us make our profile picture recognizable. Colors. We can use colors to our advantage of making a good profile picture. So we can use a signature color, we can use contrasting colors, or we could use a color palette for our profile picture. And by using specific colors and colors that are linked with our channel, it can be identified super easy. Another thing we can do is your profile picture relates to your channel niche. If you play Fortnite, you have a Fortnite gaming channel, you might want to make your profile picture something related to Fortnite. So in this case, you make it Jonesy from Fortnite. If you're a movie reviewer, you probably want to make it something related to movies, like a clapper, for example. If you like deep sea diving, you can make it like scuba diving gear. You can make your profile picture related to deep sea diving, or a picture of a coral reef might work too. You can also use your face, a mask, or a fursuit. So if you don't want to use a persona, or if you don't have one, or if you want to use your face, you can. So you can just straight up use your face. You can have a mask if you want to be a little bit more anonymous. A lot of people use masks for their sona or commentary. You can wear all kinds of masks, or you can just straight up use your fursuit if you have one. You can use an icon, a shape, contrasting shapes, or a letter. I'll get into specifics about letters later. You can use your persona or one of your original characters. So for example, I use my persona. A difference between a persona and original character is a persona is personal to you. So for example, what I'm using right now is a PNG tuber, and this represents me as a person. Instead of using my face, I use a persona for my identity. But you can also use one of your original characters as the face of your channel. So for example, if you have an animation channel and all you do is draw your original characters, you can make it your profile picture just one of your original characters that you draw all the time. And people will look at it and be like, oh, I know who that is. That's so-and-so's OC. Another thing you can do is you can use a character from any form of media. There's a lot of examples of these. A lot of people on YouTube prefer to use straight up just a character, a symbol from different kinds of media. And so for example, this guy, Juby Philosophy, uses a white Triforce from The Legend of Zelda. Some people like to recolor icons or recolor like Pokemon or recolor characters to kind of make it stand out a little bit. So you can do what this person did and just make your channel icon or profile picture a white Triforce. This guy uses a Natu with shades. Dialco uses Judeu from Berserk. So this is a character from Berserk. The nicher your character is from like any media, I think the better you will stand out. A border outline in your profile picture can really help like outline your silhouette of your character or whatever you're using for your profile picture. So some things to keep in mind when choosing your profile picture, and this can apply to Instagram, Discord, things like that, where a profile picture is scaled down. So in this case for YouTube, your profile picture will be on a smaller scale, about this size for reference. In my next slide, I'll show you kind of what it looks like. That's how small your profile picture is going to be on a web browser, and it's going to be even smaller on a phone. So that's something to really keep in mind when choosing a profile picture. Another thing to keep in mind is dark mode and light mode. Some people are normal and they use dark mode for their YouTube. Other people are not so normal and they use light mode for YouTube. Sorry, no shade to people who use light mode. That was a joke. Example we can use is this guy's channel, Aaron Westbury. He's a comedian. And so in dark mode, we can see that his profile picture behind the dark mode UI for YouTube is kind of hard to see. It blends too well with the background. In light mode, we can see it a little bit better, and it kind of stands out way better in light mode. Make sure you're happy with how it looks on both modes, so light mode and dark mode. You can easily, check this by just making like a dark background in like your profile picture. And in this case, I'm scaling it down as well, just so I can see compare this is what it looks like in light mode, this is what it looks like in dark mode. And I wouldn't worry about this a whole lot. Just make sure you're happy with how it looks on both modes and adjust it as needed. You can do some cool effects with this as well. You can copy the color of the dark mode color, and you can make like my profile picture is like eyes and it looks like it blends in with the background of the website. Or if somebody's using light mode and you want it to make it look like a guy is floating in the void, you can do something like that where your character is in like a white background and it's just floating. And so on the light mode, it looks like your character is floating like on the website. So those are some cool effects, some cool ideas or effects you can do with dark and light mode. Another thing I do want to say, just real quick, before we get on to the examples, is that having a good profile picture does not guarantee you to be popular. It does not guarantee success. It does not guarantee you getting a bunch of money. Having a good profile picture is basically just branding. I think having a good profile picture is important for people to recognize you straight away and to recognize your channel brand and like what you do. Let's look at some examples. So Wendigoon, why Wendigoon's profile picture is good is because Wendigoon uses a signature color for his entire channel. So Wendigoon uses like a purplish color, like it's like a saturated bright purple kinda. And also his this character right here, the deer skull, has a very recognizable silhouette. It's utilizing a silhouette in the profile picture. And it's also unique. It has night vision goggles on it. So at a smaller scale, you can recognize that profile picture because, oh, that's Wendigoon's color. I know who that is. Because Wendigoon only uses this color for their channel. Meat Canyon uses letters in their profile picture. So their signature colors are pink and yellow, like a really hot pink and a bright yellow. And those are Meat Canyon's signature colors. And also another thing is Meat Canyon uses a border around the letters, so they're really easy to see even at a smaller scale like this. Now, Super Mega, they do use words in their profile picture. Just know that it's probably going to be really hard to read on a smaller scale. But in this case, this is a good profile picture because you can still read the words, and the words are tied to contrasting colors. So Super Mega uses red and blue for their channel, and those are contrasting signature colors, and they only use red and blue for their channel. So immediately you'll be able to know like, oh, that's Super Mega. When you're using words in your profile picture, make sure that they're readable. You're using contrasting colors for the words that you're trying to put into your profile picture. They might not be super readable at a smaller scale, but at a bigger scale, they will be. So some other examples we have here. Ryan Unfiltered. This guy is a mountaineer, so his profile picture is him in mountaineering gear. I think this is him climbing not Everest, but a really tall mountain. So he made his profile picture him in mountain gear, and that's cool. You can recognize like, oh, that's the mountain, that's the guy who climbed Everest guy. I know who that is. Wolfie VGC, he just uses his face for his profile picture. And his face is super recognizable. I mean, everybody's face is recognizable. Everybody has a different face. I like this profile picture too because his face kind of contrasts with the background as well. like his face is super saturated, but the background is like not super saturated. And this is a good picture of Wolfie as well. That's a good example of using your face as your profile picture. Now, royalty is here. They use a lot of browns and like really similar colors to the background, but what I really like about this profile picture is that it utilizes a shape, just like a contrasting shape in their profile picture. They use a crown. You can immediately identify who this is just because of the crown that they use and the color palette. So having shapes in your profile picture can be worked to advantage because you can have like a signature shape. Proximity chat, he just uses a logo. So he uses pretty much a speakerphone and like a volume logo. He just uses that, and that's super recognizable because it's kind of a synonymous like logo that people use for like speaking, and his channel is about, you know, talking to people on VR chat. So not only does it, you know, relate to his channel niche, but it's also a logo, a very popular logo at that, and he just kind of made it his own. See, he kind of like made it a little bit different. He has like a green board, like a green outline to help him differentiate like himself a little bit. In animations, she uses her persona as her profile picture. That's really important because she only ever she uses her persona in her animations all the time, and so making her profile picture her persona, it just makes a lot of sense because she uses it all the time. And in her profile picture, she uses a border, like a white border and a blue border. She has a nice silhouette of her character, and her signature color is obviously purple and maybe blue sometimes. Moonryu is a Minecraft YouTuber. I like his profile picture because they use contrasting colors. The face takes up most of the profile picture, so it's a lot easier to see. And they use contrasting colors like green and yellow, and they have like kind of like a thick like black border around their character, and it's a picture of their persona as well, something that they use on stream all the time. So this is a good profile picture because I'm assuming this is like a niche character from a very random video game, a bright green character with a dark background. It has a really obvious silhouette. Oh, Bookworm Adventures. Okay, it's from Bookworm Adventures. Using a niche character like this can really help you stand out as well. And I really think that dark background contrasted with like a color like this can really help you stand out if you don't really like using colors all that much. Doing something like what Jimny did here can be a solution to that. Next we have Glitch. Now Glitch Productions, they're like a production studio, and they have a logo. They make their logo their profile picture, and they also have the word glitch in their profile picture as well, which makes a lot of sense because that's the name of their business. And I like this, how they use the words here, because it's just one word, and you're able to kind of like see what that is from far away. The logo is super recognizable. It's just like a upside down, like glitched out T with a iconic skull, like the dark background. They utilize just two colors, white and like a gray. Next we have Game Grumps. I think this is a really good profile picture, and I picked this one because it kind of has a lot going on in it, but it still works very well. So first, they have their iconic contrasting colors. Their signature colors for their channel are blue and like a light orange. Like immediately you're like, oh, that's Game Grumps. Like I know who that is because they only ever use light orange and like a darker blue for their channel. And as you can see, we have their little talking heads. We have Aaron up here, we have Dan down here, and they're still able to fit themselves in there. They even added their channel name, Game Grumps, into it. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind when putting text in. It works better if you put it like kind of in the middle of your profile picture instead of like at the bottom. That's why people do it, and like they put their text in the middle, because this has the most space of the circle, and it's not gonna get cut off down like it right here. It's gonna get cut off like when you put it down here. You can probably get away with putting it at the top too. You have to like kind of play around with it and test it on your channel and see how it looks. With text, it's a little bit tricky, but you can make it work for sure. Flygon HG, they're a Pokemon YouTuber, and their name is Flygon HG. So they use a Flygon in their profile picture along with their themselves. It's like them as a chibi. using like their favorite Pokemon as like their signature Pokemon for their channel. It makes a lot of sense because they're a PokeTuber. And a lot of Pokemon YouTubers, they use like their favorite Pokemon or like a Pokemon they use a lot in their profile picture. Mumbo Jumbo is a pretty good example of someone that just uses shapes. They also use a signature color, which is like this coral color right here. The shapes that they use pretty much is just like the mustache shape, because Mumbo Jumbo is known for having a mustache on their character. And they also have, you know, like these little half circles that represent eyes. And so from far away, you can tell immediately that's Mumbo Jumbo because of these identifying shapes and the signature color. Another example, we have Pcat. Pcat uses like a small character. From far away, you can see pretty easily the character. It has a very thick border as well. And two signature colors, like a bright yellow. These are actually contrasting colors. Like a very bright, super saturated yellow. And like kind of like a desaturated, like purple, dusty purple color. And so using these two colors together help create a bit of a contrast and help make their little guy stand out much better. Alright, next we have Rice Brush. Really good silhouette we got going on here. Very nice. Like a dusty green. And then like they make the background like a little bit lighter than their character. And their character is like, has like darker values. And so that's why it works, because these two, like the character itself is contrasting with the background. And it's a lighter background. So that's a good example of like using like a lighter background, is making your character a little bit more saturated or darker than the background. I like this profile picture too from Alice, because they're an artist, and so I'm assuming this is their persona or one of their OCs. And they also use like a signature shape as well. This is like a little flower, and you can see it. They mix like a signature shape and their persona or OC in their profile picture. That's super easy to recognize because, oh, like that's a flower, and they use a color palette. They utilize a color palette for their OC or like their profile picture. So it's easy to like identify as well. The shape is like really light as well. It's easy to point out like that's a flower. This guy, Pichel, he does Pokemon content. He pretty much just uses shapes though for his profile picture. This is pretty much his logo. So some people like to just make a logo and make it their profile picture, and that's cool. Making a logo is a whole different like can of worms. He just uses a signature color and his logo in the middle, and it works very well. Especially from a little bit farther away where you can't really see the details super well. You can still kind of tell like, oh, I know who that is, even on a smaller scale. Alright, next we have Z-Man 1064. They use like two rectangles. So from like kind of far away, they use like two like these signature shapes for their profile picture. And so you can immediately tell like who that is just because of these shapes that you can see, and they're contrasting with the gray. So we have like kind of like a darker gray and like a lighter gray. And it's super recognizable just because of those two rectangles, which represent their Minecraft skin. Alright, and next we have Small Ant. Small Ant has a really good profile picture because their face pretty much takes up the entirety of the profile picture. So you can easily recognize like who that is. Like, oh, that's Small Ant. They use kind of like a dark, I'm pretty sure this is their signature color as well, just kind of like a dark teal color. Next we have Kazillion. They are an animator. This is their persona. And they actually use a gradient background. You can actually use gradient backgrounds as well with your signature colors, or just a color. Like this person's signature color is definitely like orange and yellow, and so they use that for their background. Their character kind of has like a interesting border as well. It's not entirely going around their character. It's kind of like just a little bit of borders going on here, which is still really cool. So you can play around with, you can take a bunch of different elements and kind of make them work in your profile picture. Those are all the examples that I have. Now we're going to move on to things to avoid in a profile picture. Obviously, this video is directed towards like content creators or people who make content all the time. If you're just somebody who just doesn't really make content or just, you know, talks in chat, you don't have to like follow all of these rules or anything. You really don't. So using the default Google letter, it's very boring. It doesn't really make you stand out because a lot of people have these profile pictures. If you're trying to be a recognizable figure, I would probably avoid using these profile pictures or the default Google letter profile picture. Using just a solid color for your profile picture, I would probably avoid, because a lot of people have these colors as just a solid color as their profile picture. So it might be kind of hard for people to identify your channel right away if you just use a solid color. Obviously, some people can get away with this. I would recommend using at least 2 colors in your profile picture. I would avoid using trending memes or a popular profile picture. A good example of this is there was a point in time where everybody was making their profile picture clippy. Not really sure why. Everybody just had this profile picture. And so if everybody has the same profile picture, it's kind of hard for you to like also have this profile picture and like be recognizable, because it's kind of synonymous with like a ton of different people and like a movement, I'm pretty sure. So a profile picture that like maybe stands behind a movement might be hard to be like you being recognized like as yourself. Or if you make it a meme, obviously you can like make memes work, but I feel like if it's a super popular meme, or if it's a meme that everybody uses as their profile picture, it might be hard for you to kind of stand out. Also, memes do die eventually, and they do get stale, and people kind of get turned off when they see like a dead meme or a meme that isn't used anymore. So it's just something to keep in mind if you're going to use a meme for your profile picture. Like a low resolution picture, like you can't really see who that is. You probably can recognize who it is, but you can't really like see the face. Using very thin lines is also probably not recommended. Using too many colors, like using so many colors that it's kind of hard to see what's going on. Also, your colors are kind of blending in with the background. Might be hard to see what's going on in your profile picture. And too many details. Like if you have a lot going on in your profile picture, we're gonna see in a second, but like it might be hard for people to pick apart like, oh, like whose channel is this? I can't really see that very well. And again, we have the text. It's kind of like down here. I made it kind of really hard to read. Remember that your profile picture will be scaled down. Like you can't really tell what's going on here. It might make it even harder to distinguish from other people, because people kind of have to like squint and see like, oh, like what am I looking at here? Like, ooh, I can't really see what's going on there. I recommend just making whatever profile picture you have and just like scaling it all the way down and just seeing what it looks like when it's really tiny. And if you like how it looks, then go ahead and use it. We are almost at the end of my presentation. Alright, another thing to keep in mind, changing your profile picture all the time can confuse viewers, so try to stick with one or use the same color palette, because like if you change your profile picture like all the time and they're all super different from each other, it might confuse people a little bit. And I think this really only applies to people with a really big audience. Obviously, I think you can get away with this if you're using like the same character, the same color palette, the same OC, the same icon or logo. You can get away with it. It's just if you're making your profile picture different like all the time as a creator, it can kind of confuse people, and sometimes it'd be like, yo, who am I subscribed to? Like, who is this? I don't remember who this is. They might even unsubscribe from you because they don't recognize who you are. You're a loser if you use generative AI to make your profile picture. If you literally just can't take the 2 seconds it takes to look for a profile picture on Pinterest or Google or whatever, you're just a loser. Any questions? I hope this was a very straightforward presentation for all of you. Is it okay to put your OC to stare at people's souls in your PFP? Of course it is. It is completely okay to have your OC stare into people's souls in your profile picture. I think that would be a very effective way to get people to know who you are immediately, actually. What if someone with a big audience changes their profile picture to the same idea but changes the style or something? For example, Jane Animations. That's fine. You can definitely get away with changing your profile picture. I feel like if you have like 1 million subscribers, obviously people aren't gonna like not know who you are. I think as long as you use like the same characters or like the same kind of vibe, the same colors, like you keep it similar, you'll pretty much be fine. Obviously, I think this only applies to like really big creators. Like if Jade Animations changed her her profile picture to like something completely random, like a duck or one of her birds, it might confuse a couple of people. I think it's honestly just for the sake of making sure that viewers know like who you are. It's not really a set rule. You're allowed to change your profile picture whenever you want. I have found, like being on YouTube for a very long time, that when people do change their profile pictures as creators and they look very different from like the one that people are used to seeing, it can kind of confuse people. Like it's just something to like keep in mind, I guess, if you're gonna change your profile picture, that might happen. And people might ask like, oh, why did you change your profile picture? Like, oh, you're different, I almost didn't recognize you. So one thing to be careful about if you're gonna choose a character from a niche media or something like kind of popular like Pokemon, I would probably keep in mind, like, if you want to make merch or if you want to sell stuff related to this character or like your channel, be careful, because these characters are technically copyrighted. They aren't exactly your characters. You would have to make them a little bit more different than the original one to, you know, get away with something like that. So I would just be careful if you want to make merch or t-shirts or things like that in the future, because people get upset when you use your their copyright characters for making money and stuff like that. So just something to keep in mind. You might get like a cease and desist or something. So how should I crop a PFP from an entirely existing art or photo? That is a great question. So how I would go about this is let me just get an example here real quick. Like, let's say you want to use like this art for like your profile picture, right? Obviously, if you're using other people's artwork for your profile picture, make sure you either have permission or they're cool with it or you credit them. Just a quick disclaimer. But yeah, let's say, oh, I want to use this artwork as my profile picture. One thing I would recommend is make sure you download the PNG. So actually download the file, like right click it and save it so it doesn't lose like any resolution, because we want to make sure that our image is high quality and it doesn't lose any resolution. So I would recommend either going to, if you found this picture or a artwork on Pinterest or like a manga panel on Pinterest, maybe try going to like the original source and getting just like a really high resolution like PNG of like that profile picture you want. Now cropping, you could use like Paint, you can use paint.net, you can use Photoshop, Clip Studio Paint, any art program to do this. Crop it bigger than you think you need it. A good square right there. So let's crop like a little bit bigger than I think I need it. And so what I would do here is I would just make it bigger than I think I need it. We can crop it like a little bit. So let me go ahead. I'm going to save this file. We're going to save it as a PNG. Name it like Chris PFP or whatever. We're on my YouTube page. We're going to go ahead and change. Find your profile picture. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but like find your profile picture that you want to use, the one that you cropped. Okay, so now we have our little profile picture. Okay, as you can see, we can crop it. We can make it as small or as big as we want. And so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna crop this, and by using our knowledge, our little tips that I've given, Chris's face kind of like the star of the show, the star of our profile picture. So make sure we get all of their face in there. We get a little bit of Dino in there as well. I have everything that I want in it. It has a good silhouette. The background is white and like contrasting. Everything looks good. So we're gonna go ahead, hit done. That's a pretty good and recognizable like profile picture that I just made. And you can edit it as well. You can just like, you know, play around with it, change it, crop it how you like if you don't like the crop. But yeah, cropping it bigger than you think you need it is important, because then you'll have like then that way you'll have enough room to like actually work with when editing it in the YouTube, like in the profile picture thingy. So I've made a couple of profile pictures. I made this one. In the future, I would probably like make a profile picture a little bit bigger than I think I need it, just so like the cropping is easier for the person using it, or just adding a little bit more space. But yeah, these are profile pictures that I've made in the past, and I think they work pretty well. Do you usually draw the circle to see where it might be cropped? No, I don't. I don't really think that's necessary. YouTube kind of already provides that for you. It kind of already provides like a border crop for you and kind of like what's gonna be in the circle. But if it helps you to draw a circle around like your profile picture, just like you can get like a circle tool and kind of like have like a border around it, so then when you go to crop it, it can be like kind of easier for you to see like, oh, this is where I want the crop to stop. So I think it can be like a helpful guide, but it's not necessary, I don't think. But if it helps you, definitely go for it. And then when you're putting in your profile picture, and you can kind of like test it out and see like, oh, okay, this is how I want it to look. This is how I want it to look. I kind of want to get into like why I don't like my current profile picture. I have a lot of issues with it. This is my current profile picture, actually. I don't think it's a bad profile picture, but I think while I was drawing this, I was not in like a very good headspace, and I have a lot of issues with it. First of all, I think the eyes are a little bit too low. Like kind of like, oh, like I just woke up and like I kind of got out of bed, like kind of sleepy. Like as you can see on my like actual character, I'm kind of like a happy-go-lucky like kind of lady. So I have very like bright and like very like, oh, I'm so ready to, I'm so happy, I'm ready to take on the world eyes. So that's why I don't really like my profile picture, because I think it's just a little bit too it's a little bit too sleepy for my taste. I think the eyes are something that I'm going to be changing. I like the head angle. The head angle for specifically my profile picture is really important because I need to add the star. Oh wait, here, let me try. I need to add the star. The star is kind of like a signature shape that I use. And it's something that I need to have in my profile picture because people recognize me for having a star in my hair. But yeah, so one thing I want to change about my profile picture is the star. Because when we shrink down my profile picture, we can see that the star is kind of hard to see at a smaller scale. I want to make this like way bigger. So then that way, people can kind of see like, oh, they can see the star better and they can kind of like recognize it at a smaller scale. And I probably won't put a gradient on it either like I did here. I'm gonna make it just one solid color. That's something I want to change about my profile picture, is making sure the star is like, oh, like it like pops, because it's like it's kind of like my whole thing. That's like part of my branding or whatever. Even from like a small scale, you can be like, oh, like I can kind of like see the star a little bit better. But other than that, it's not a bad profile picture. It's just I'm not really happy with it. Pretty much, I want to change the eyes / expression. Next thing I want to change is the star. But everything else I kind of do like. I love the background that I'm using. It's kind of like a cool textured like rainbowish background. I really like that. It's just like green and pink are kind of like my signature contrasting colors. So we're gonna keep those. Also the border, I would probably make a little bit thicker. I'm gonna like make a box to like determine the angle of the head, because I want the head to be like kind of at a downwards-ish angle. So I want it like pointing like that way. Alright, cool. And then I'll kind of like do another outline over this. Kind of like using like straight lines to help me like navigate the face a little bit better. So that's why I'm using straight lines, or like kind of like curvy little lines. I'm also somebody really prone to changing my profile picture all the time and not being happy with it ever. So I'm trying to make one that's a little bit better. So far, that's like a good start. I think that's a good start to what we're doing. I'm gonna make the ear a little bit smaller. It's a little bit too big. A good tip, a little quick tip, how to like place the ear, is I go from like, so like the eyebrows to like the end of the nose, and I do like these two little lines right here, and it kind of tells me like where the ear will be and kind of like how big it'll be. So that's a little tip, little bit of knowledge for you. I'm not really going for like a chibi look. I'm going for like a more like just like adult anime look, kinda. This jaw, dude. I got like a receding jawline right here, bro. It's like, bro, what are we doing? Yeah, should we do like a smirk like that? Would that look good? I'm kind of like the drawing nerd. There we go. That looks a lot more like me though. Definitely a nice improvement to my current profile picture. Again, we want the star to be pretty big. We want it to be obnoxiously big, almost. And most importantly, we want it in our hair. We don't want to, like, create a little tangent line over here next to the head. We want it, like, in the middle of my hair. Like this. I'm gonna make it just obnoxiously big. And that way, like, yeah, already, really good, pretty good improvement. Alright, now I'm gonna take the hair, I'm gonna give it a little bit more volume. I feel like it's kind of flat here, so I'm gonna give that a little bit more volume. When it comes to profile pictures, I'm really picky with them, and they need to look exactly how I want them to look, or I go crazy. And I like hyperfixate on like everything that's wrong with it, so... and I think for like the eyebrows under the hair, some people like to do like a little transparency for the eyebrows, like over the hair, but I think for my profile picture, I just want it to look like solid hair, so I might do it for the eyelashes because the eyelashes are kind of iconic for my profile picture. I might move the hair a little bit over. There we go, and then I'm gonna have the hair kind of like blend in with this part right here. Like simplifying the hair for the profile picture definitely can help as well. Alright, cool. I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna make the nose a little bit bigger though. Yeah, already I think that looks a lot better than my current profile picture. I think I'm gonna make the eyes a little bit smaller though. They're kind of too big, I think. So we're gonna make those eyes a little bit smaller. Do one at a time. Another cool art tip I would definitely recommend, especially for something as important as a profile picture. Definitely just like take a break, look at something else for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then come back and then see how it looks, and you might find things that, oh, I don't like how that looks, and then go back and change it. Honestly, that's so real. Once I stop with something, I never work on it again. What? Guys, no, you have to work. Bro, it's only 10 minutes, just a 10-minute break. I'm definitely the opposite. I don't like when there's something not finished. Like if I don't finish an art piece, I feel very weird about it, and I go back and I make sure I finish it as fast as I can. Honestly, I think I'm gonna leave it here because I do want to edit my VOD and make it a little bit more coherent to anyone that is watching it for the purpose of the presentation. What about mine? Is mine good? Let me see your profile picture real quick. Yeah, I like your profile picture, and I think that works because your profile picture has like a big defining like silhouette. It has like that outline, and also like it has like kind of like a shape. I think this is, you know, pretty fine. A pretty good profile picture. I think what I would do is like this space right here, like this white space, I would probably make this like here. I would probably make this like fill that in a little bit, kind of like that. So then that way it's like, oh, like it's like your whole character is like taking up that part of the screen. And then here you have like these angel wings going on. So I would recommend maybe using I would make this like just a thicker border, like a thick outline. Oh, that's the other wing. I see. I would probably put a border like around your character as well. That would probably help out just a little bit. So then what I would do is, if you want both of your wings in there, I would make your character like, I'd make it like maybe smaller, and then you can add like the other wing in the back here. Hopefully that's helpful. This is a bad demonstration, but like, then that way like you have the silhouette of like, or like you have the outline of both wings, and it's like gonna be pretty obvious that they're wings as well. But yeah, that's what I would do. Just something to note that like thinner lines don't show up very well in YouTube profile pictures. YouTube doesn't really like thinner lines, which kind of sucks. But at the end of the day, you know, I think it looks pretty good. Again, I think a good profile picture is mainly defined by just a good silhouette, contrasting colors, having a border would definitely help. It's not required. Maybe like a shape is nice to have in a profile picture, defining shape, contrasting colors, things like that. But at the end of the day, I'm not the decider. You get to choose what you make your profile picture. I'm not a freaking decider. But yeah, I will be seeing you all in the next stream. Thank you all for watching my presentation. All right, I'll see you all later. have a good rest of your day.